things about being an MC at an event like this is you get to introduce good friends. Our next speaker is Dr. Jin Peh. He's had an assorted past in medicine before he studied under a prominent master from Taiwan. His column was regularly featured in the South China Post, and he began teaching Bazi in 2013 in Australia, Germany, Russia and the United Arab Emirates. He previously collaborated on 3 4 Pillars texts with Lily Chung, and in 2016 released his first work on water charts. As you'll see in just a moment, Dr. Jin Peh has a different orientation when it comes to Bazi, and he's going to teach you about patterns in charts. Put your hands together for Dr. Jin Peh.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. Glad you made it here. So, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to sit down like you so that, thanks, Wendell, so that, we're all relaxed here, because a relaxed mind is very important when you're looking at the 4 pillars. Don't be stressed. Nothing to be stressed about. So, everybody, I hope, has a hand up in front of them. Anybody doesn't, let me know, but I think the girls have done a very good job. So basically, the first page are the charts that we'll be looking at. We're looking at 8 charts in total today. So the first one, there's a slight mistake in the hour, which I've personally corrected. So it should be yin water instead of yin metal. So my apologies for the mistake. On the second page, now, before I talk about the second page, do we have anybody in this room apart from Peter who hasn't done 4 pillars classes before? Do we have any virgins here? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So for everyone, this is the key to the talk, all right? You need to focus on these 4 groups of 3 animals, right? The first one is the metal group, which is the snake, rooster, and ox. The second group is the water animals, which is monkey, rat, and dragon. The third group is the wood animals, which is pig, rabbit, and sheep. And the fourth group are the fire animals, which is tiger, horse, and dog. All right, so always refer, this is the key to the talk today, because we're talking about a very complex subject in 45 minutes, I hope. And so, you need to keep to this key too. As they say in Chinese, enter the door, 入门. And on the last page, we also have 4 charts actually. Unfortunately, there's a mistake in the hour for the first chart. The man who was born in 1972, and it should be yin metal rooster and not yang metal monkey. Okay, now that you have the charts with you, don't worry about the slides. You're welcome to take pictures, but let's focus on the steps in interpreting the charts. Okay, so I can take a quick break and tie my shoelaces while we look at the first one. Oops, is it working? Oh, let's try. Too far? All right. No? Point at the chart, okay. Thanks, Vince. Okay. This is the first one, a man who is born January 31st, 1981 at 18:30 hours, yin water rooster hour, yin earth rooster day, yin earth ox month, and yang metal monkey year. So this is the first person. All right, while we're looking at his chart, the first thing you should do is obviously focus on the day master. So he's a yin earth day. All right, so everybody got that? Second step, we look at the combination which is present in his chart. So he has 2 roosters and 1 ox. All right, there's a monkey there as well, so it's not really part of the group on page 2. So when you look at page 2, you can see it's the rooster and the ox are part of the metal group. Okay, so the 2 roosters and the ox combine to form metal. So the question is, what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So the first thing you do is to identify the 3 harmony, which is the metal 3 harmony. So metal to earth. What is metal to earth? So the 5 relationships suggest that Metal is the children or the output element, intelligence element, expression element of Earth. So this chart is known as a follow the what happened there? Oh, follow the metal chart, which is also known as follow the output or follow the intelligence. So to answer that question, this is a follow the metal intelligence or follow the output, brackets open, metal chart. All right. So what are the useful elements? For somebody who has a follow the output or children chart, number one element, of course, is the children, which is metal. So for families, like for the British royal family, the most important thing is to produce the next generation. So for follow the children chart, the next useful element is what the children produces. So metal produces, everybody? Thank you. So the second useful element for this person would be water. So what destroys metal? I think fire destroys metal, and what destroys water? Earth destroys water. So the two negative elements would definitely be fire and earth. So let's have a look at the steps here, right on the board. Good. Right, you need to consider the overall picture of the chart and not try to force the chart into a fixed formula. Everyone is different. So you classify the nature of the chart according to any potential flow or structure. So look for a partial or complete three harmony combination. The man is born rooster day, rooster hour, ox month. So I think we all established that. Right, so step one, we did. There's a partial three harmony metal combination within a chart. Step two, the day master is yin earth. Earth produces metal. Metal is the output element. This is a follow the output metal chart. Step four, useful elements, metal, water, and wood, because wood controls the earth competitors. And the negative elements are fire and earth that destroy the first two elements. Okay, so the next step would be to look at this person's life history and to verify, did he do well in metal and water years and luck cycles? Right, so he had success in the Yang water luck cycle, age 21 to 25, and in the dragon luck cycle, age 26 to 30, when water is formed because the monkey year branch that he has combines with the dragon luck cycle to form water. He completed the yin water luck cycle, another useful element, 31 to 35, and right now he's in the snake luck cycle, 36 to 40. So he has the full three harmony metal combination that I stated in page 2, which is snake, rooster, and ox. So there you go. So this person, a young man, became successful at 21, and he's only 37, 36, and he's still very successful. So he's clearly gone through the metal and water luck cycles between 20 and 40. So who is this young man? I hope you guys know him. It's Justin Timberlake. So there you go. Oh. Everybody's taking Justin's picture. All right, so that was a follow the output metal chart. Let's look at the next one. Next example. All right, we have a man who was born on March 20th, 1976. So we don't know the time. He's born on a yin metal sheep day, in a yin metal rabbit month, and in a yang fire dragon year. So what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So referring to the key again on page 2, I would say there happens to be a combination there between the rabbit and the sheep. So if you look at page 2, I think that's the third line, which is the wood combination. So this man has a wood combination present in his chart between the month and the day. So the combinations between the month and the day, it's present with him throughout his entire life, because, these two pillars follow you for all your life. The hour pillar comes at the beginning of life, and then towards the end, the hour pillar becomes more important. So looking at this man's chart, that's wood which is being formed. So what is wood relative to yin metal? Somebody? Anyone? Wealth, very good. So I would call this a follow the wealth chart, follow the wood chart. So the useful elements would be wood is number 1. Number 2 would have to be water. So what destroys wood? Metal, number 5. What destroys water? Earth, number 4. So fire will be number 3. So this is a follow the wealth wood chart. Useful elements, wood and water. Negative elements, metal and earth. And fire number 3. So let's have a look at the summary. Step 1, there is a partial 3-harmony wood combination within the chart. He is born on a sheep day in the rabbit month. Relate this back to the yin metal day master. So metal controls wood. Wood is the wealth element. Classify the chart. Step 3. It's a follow the wealth wood chart. Step 4, useful elements, wood, water, fire. Negative elements, metal and earth. So, as usual, step 5, we have to verify his life events. Right, verify that wood and water are useful elements. So he had success in the young water luck cycle, age 25 to 29, in the year 2002, young water horse year. So the horse contains fire, and it is also the nobleman star for a yin metal day master, or Guiren. So the difficulty in the snake luck cycle, age 20 to 24 before success. Because for those of you who are familiar with the hidden stems, there is a young metal stem hidden in the snake, or Si. So basically, yeah, I think, the life events do play out. Let's have a look. Unfortunately, he took his own life this year, July 20th, 2017. So on the day he died, because he was depressed, there was young earth, the negative element was present, and it was also in the rooster year, which is his competitor, because that's his self element. So unfortunately, the negative elements were present on the day he took his own life. We don't know exactly what time he decided to do that. That's very unfortunate because he had mental issues, mental health issues. So this man, for those of you who are familiar with pop music or rock music, is Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. Okay, so he had a follow the wealth wood chart. Unfortunately for him, yeah, he couldn't deal with the competitors. All right, let's move on to something a bit more upbeat. Okay, let's have a look at a man. February 17, 1991. So once again, we ask ourselves, what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So, as I said, look at the branches. Okay, we see a tiger and a horse. So looking at the 4th line of page 2, this is a fire combination, right? So here's a partial 3-harmony fire combination. So fire, what does fire do to earth? Fire produces earth. So I would say that this man has fire is the resource. He has to follow the resource chart. So the useful elements would be number 1, fire. And then number 2 would be, what produces fire? Wood. So number 1 is fire, number 2 is wood. For this type of chart, they don't like competitors, so earth is a negative element, so that would be number 5. And the element that destroys fire, which is water, that's number 4. So I would say this is a follow the resource fire chart, useful elements, fire number 1, wood, number 2, number 5 would be earth, and number 4 would be water, and number 3 would be metal. So let's have a look at the steps. Right, so you identify the partial 3-harmony fire combination present in the chart. So he's born on a horse day in the tiger month. Step 2, you relate the most prominent element fire back to the earth, young earth day master. Fire produces earth, so this is the resource element. Step 3, you classify the chart. So this is a follow the resource fire chart. Step 4, you identify the useful elements. Number 1, fire. Number 2, wood. And negative elements, water and earth, clearly written out. So let's look at his life history and see how it plays out. Right, verification. Major success in 2014. Young wood horse year. Wood and fire present in the annual stem and branch. Can't argue with that. Currently in the yin fire luck cycle started at age 24 to 28. Major success again this year in 2014, even though he had an accident when metal came on October 20th. He took a year off in 2016, which was a young fire monkey year. So the negative element water was present in the monkey. So for those of you who like his music, the 3rd musician today, this is Ed Sheeran. So there you go. Ed Sheeran. Alright, so Ed Sheeran is a follow the resource, brackets open, fire, brackets close, chart. Okay. Well, So we've done 3 examples. Let's do the next one. We'll probably do a lady now, just to be even. Okay, this is a woman. We know her time of birth, makes it easier. Yin fire ox hour, yang metal horse day, yang fire dog month, and yin wood sheep year. So what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So once again, referring to the key on page 2, you will see that there is a fire combination between the horse and the dog, all right? So this produces fire, and there's also yang fire present in the month stem. So when we relate it back to yang metal, this is what you call a power chart. So it's the follow the power, brackets open, fire, brackets close chart. So just now Ed Sheeran was follow the resource, this one is follow the power. So what are the useful elements? Number 1 is fire, number 2 has to be wood. So number 5, what destroys fire, water, and number 4, what destroys wood, would have to be metal. So those are her negative elements. So let's look at the steps again. Number 1, identify the flow. So there is a partial 3 harmony fire combination. She is done on a horse day in the dog months. Step 2, you relate it back to the yang metal day master. Fire controls metal. Fire is the power element. Step 3, you classify the chart. This is a follow the power fire chart. Useful elements, fire and wood. Negative elements, water and metal. So step 5, verify, verify, verify. What are her life events? Verify that fire and wood are the useful elements. 2007, Yin Fire Pig Year. Her hit television series started airing. So fire and wood were present in the stem and branch of that year, and yang wood is hidden or present in the pig. In 2013, yin water snake year, she was separated from her husband. So obviously negative elements, water was present, and metal was also present hidden in the snake. So the negative yang metal rival hidden in the annual snake branch. So once again, somebody not dealing well with the competitors. So in Chester Bennington's case, he had mental illness and he committed suicide. In this lady's case, she had a very high profile marital breakdown and a divorce. So who this poor lady, well, there's nothing poor about her, it's Kris Kardashian Jenner, so Kim Kardashian's mother. So yes, in 2013, she split up with her then husband, Bruce Jenner, who's now known as Caitlyn Jenner. And hit television series Keeping Up with the Kardashians started in 2007. So she is a follow the power, brackets open, fire, brackets closed chart. Okay, so we've done 4 types of charts already. We've done follow the output, which was Justin Timberlake. We did follow the wealth, which is Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. We did follow the resource, which is Ed Sheeran. And we've done follow the power, which is Kim Kardashian. So let's look at 2 more different types of chart. Next one. Man born May 2, 1972, I think that's on page 3, at 18:02 hours, Yin Metal Rooster Hour, Yin Water Snake Day, Yang Wood Dragon Month, Yang Water Rat Year. So what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So this man is quite interesting because he has 2 different types of combinations. So let's keep to the first one first to keep things simple. So we have rat and dragon combining. So looking at the key on page 2, rat and dragon combine to form water. So water is the same element as his day master, which is yin water. So I would call this a dominant water chart because the self-combination is exactly, the combination produces the element which is the same as the day master. In the second part of his life, the snake and rooster will combine to form metal. There's also a yin metal there, which is his resource. So he'll change from a dominant water chart to a follow the resource metal chart. So he's got a very good life because water and metal work hand in hand. It's not like metal and wood, for example, or, fire and water. So what sort of chart is this? It's a dominant water chart, and the useful elements would be, for a dominant chart, the useful element number 1 would be the resource element. So number 1 for him is a metal, and number 2 would be the self element, which is water. So let's have a look. 1, identify the most prominent element. There's a partial 3 harmony water combination. He is born in the dragon month and the rat year. Step 2, relate it back to the yin water day master. This is a self element. Step 3, classify the chart. This is a dominant water chart. Step 4, useful elements, metal, water, wood, and negative elements, what destroys metal, fire, what destroys water, earth. So, verify, verify, verify. So, 2012, major career success, Yang Water Dragon year. The annual dragon branch combined with the red and dragon branches present within his chart to reinforce his favorable element, water. 2016, Yang Fire Monkey year. The annual monkey branch combined with the dragon and red in his chart to form the full 3 harmony water combination. So on page 2, as I've written, water. So that's on line 2, I believe. So yes, full water combination. So this man's very successful in the water and metal years. It is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So there you go. Does very well with water and metal. This starts life as a dominant water chart, finishes up as a follow the resource metal chart. Right, next example. Now this one's a bit more difficult because you see, not all charts have combinations. So with this one, you can see there are no combinations present, so don't panic. We have another element we haven't mentioned. And the element I haven't mentioned is earth. So for those of you who have studied 4 pillars before, the 4 major earth animals are dragon, dog, sheep, and ox. So he has a sheep here, a dragon there, and a yang earth there. So there's slight earth pattern there. So earth relative to yin fire is the output element. So this would have to be a follow the output earth element. So as we discussed with Justin Timberlake, when you are following the output of the children, you need to produce the next generation. So earth produces metal. So number 1 element for this man would have to be earth. And number 2 would have to be metal. And what destroys earth? Wood, number 5. And what destroys metal? Fire, number 4. So this is a follow the output earth chart, brackets open, brackets closed. Let's have a look. Identify the most prominent element in the chart. There are no 3 harmony combinations. He's born on a sheep day in the dragon month. Earth is the most prominent element. Relate back to the yin fire day master. Fire produces earth. So earth is the output or children element. Step 3, classify the chart. Follow the output earth chart. Step 4, useful elements, earth, metal, water. Number 3, negative elements, wood and fire. So as I said, step 5, verify. So verify earth and metal are the useful elements. Success first came to him in 1998. Young Earth Tiger year during the Young Earth Lux cycle. I think that's enough Earth there. So Earth is present in the annual storm in 1998 and also in the Lux cycle. Currently he's in the Young Metal Lux cycle aged 37 to 41, so that's also another favorable period for him. In 2017, the Yin Fire Rooster year, metal is also present in the annual Rooster bunch. So clearly his second element, Rooster, helped him to achieve incredible success globally this year. Another singer coming up. So who's this man? It's the man who sings Despacito. So it's Luis Fonsi from Puerto Rico. So there you go. Okay, this is a follow the earth, follow the output, brackets open, earth chart. Alright, let's have a look at something different. Okay, now we have the time of birth again. Another man born December 21, 1977 at 10:40 in the morning. Everybody knows this, became famous this year. Young Wood Snake year, Young Water Rat Day, Young Water Rat Month, Young Fire Snake year. So what type of chart is this and what are the useful elements? So like Luis Fonsi's chart, there is no combination, so don't panic. Alright, there is a pattern here. So what do you see is the most prominent element? You have the rat, you have 2 rats. Alright, 2 rats, oh, that's a lot of water, but there's no 3 harmony combination as listed on page 2. There's no monkey, there's no dragon, so there's no water combination. There is a yang water competitor present as well in the month stem. So there's a lot of water present in his chart, but they do not form a combination of any sort. So this would be known as a competitive water chart. So this person is very competitive. very good to be a politician or a sports person. So what would be the useful elements? So when you're a competitive chart, you need to control your competitors. So what are the ways of controlling your competitors? Number one, you use the power element, which is earth for this man. And, power element will be number two because you're using power to control this man. Number one will be the output element because you're draining him. So it's softly. So number one would be wood. So number one is wood and number two is earth. Number three would have to be the branch that makes him dominant. So it would have to be monkey or dragon. Number four would be the resource element, which is metal, because it strengthens him and it also strengthens his competitors. And then number five would have to be the wealth element, because if I threw a 500 Singapore dollar note right into 50 people, you can just imagine what's going to happen. So that's why competitors don't deal well with money. All right, let's have a look. So identify the most prominent element. There are no combinations in this chart. He is born in the rat day, in the rat month. The main element is water. Step two, relate it back to the Yang Water Day Master. Water is the self element. No combinations are present. Step three, you classify the chart. This is a competitive water chart. Step four, useful elements, earth and wood, and negative elements, metal and fire. Right, verify, verify. Step five, success, Yang Earth luck cycle. All right, age 31 to 35. Currently in the monkey luck cycle, combines with the rat day and month branches to form a partial three harmony water combination. This transforms him into a dominant water chart. The resource metal becomes the favorable element. So suddenly he becomes like the rock because now he's dominant water. 2017, favorable element metal is present in the annual rooster branch. So that brought him a lot of success. Right, so this man is, Emmanuel Macron, President of France. So there you go. Competitive charts, good as politicians and athletes. So this one's a good politician. A lot of other favorable things in this chart, but in the 45 minutes that we have, we'll just look at the pattern first. Okay, last example. We have an Asian example. Right, a woman who was born June 21, 1967. So Yang Fire Dragon Day, Yang Fire Horse Month, Yin Fire Sheep. Yep. So let's have a look. So like Emmanuel Macron, there are no combinations present. There are two earth animals present. You could say that there is some earth, a lot of output element. But the other thing which is very distinctive about a chart, there's a Yang Fire Horse rival there. Right there sitting next to her. And there's a Yin Fire rival there as well. So no combinations present in her chart. One big rival plastered right next to her in the month. And another Yin Fire here. So I would say she's a competitive fire chart. So let's look at the steps. Identify the most prominent element. There are no combinations. She's born on a Yang Fire Horse Month and a Yin Fire year. Fire is the predominant element. Step two, relate back to the Yang Fire Day Master. So fire is the self element. Step three, classify the chart. This is a competitive fire chart. Step four, useful elements, earth and water. And negative elements, wood and metal. So it's a competitive fire chart. So verify, verify. Right, in the dog luck cycle, the dog combined with the horse month branch to form a partial three harmony fire combination, as listed on page 2. So once again, she became a dominant fire chart. So the resource element wood became a favorable element. So in 2011, she attained prominence. The useful element wood was present in the rabbit branch present that year. So currently she's in a pig luck cycle, so she's lost the fire combination. So she's reverted to a competitive fire chart. So the negative element yang wood present in the pig. So unfortunately, she had to leave her home country because they trumped out some charges against her, some would say. So this is Yin luck Shinawatra. Competitive fire charts. So there you go. Emmanuel Macron and Yin luck. Competitive water and competitive fire. So in summary, there's 6 different types of charts. So the first one was follow output, Justin Timberlake and Louis Fonsi. both very good singers. Number 2, Yet Follow Wealth, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. And number 3, Follow Resource, Ed Sheeran. Number 4, Follow Power, Kris Kardashian Jenner. Number 5, Dominant Chart, Dominant Water, Dwayne Johnson. And number 6, Competitive Chart, Emmanuel Macron and Yingluck Shinawatra. So those are the basic charts that you look at first to classify. This is the beginner step. So you know these are the different types of charts that are present. Next. Right, so just a bit of a plug. So with my teacher Lily Chung, I've translated and worked on with her 4 books. First one is Discovery of Code for Success, and the second one is looking at the charts of couples, so that's called Finding Your Life Partner. And the third one is looking at your life numbers and hexagons from the I Ching. So in Chinese it's He Luo Li Shu. So basically trying to derive your I Ching hexagon from your 4 pillars chart. And, sorry to plug this, I had a book out last year called Water, which is the first in a series of 5. So everybody in this book is using water as the useful element. So you follow the resource, follow the power, follow the wealth, follow the output, water, dominant water, and competitive water charts. So the next 4 elements will be released one by one. So we have a lot of examples in this book. We have 18 examples in each chapter. So there's 108 examples in the book with people's life history and story. So that the critics from the first book were saying that we were cherry picking the examples. So you can see that 108 is a lot of cherries to pick. So that's it for the presentation. Hope that made sense for you. Do we have any questions? Tyler, how are we going for time? A few minutes, yes, thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions for Dr. Jin Peh? Yes. Oh, wait. Sorry.
I don't seem to have a date for Chester Bennington, who committed suicide.
Oh, yes.
Chester Bennington's on the first page, under Justin Timberlake, male, born March 20th, 1976, died July 20th, 2017. Is that okay? Page 1. Okay, I can give you this handout. Next question, please.
In the chart, which is the male born on April 15, 1978, I didn't catch who that was. Why did you choose, given that there are 3 earth and I think 3 fire, why did you choose the earth over the fire, given that they're both the same?
Thank you for your question. Yes, the difference between him and Yingluck is that this man born 1978, the horse is actually in the year. Well, for Yingluck, the horse was actually in the month. So when you get older, the year bunch is not such an effect anymore, okay? Because Yingluck cannot get rid of the horse month bunch her entire life. It's plastered next to her. Thanks. Any more questions?
Do we have any more questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay, please put your hands together for Dr. Jin Peh. Thank you very much.